Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something I know a lot of you have been asking about, how a positive mindset can really help you succeed.
Yeah, definitely lots of interest in this one.
Exactly. And, you guys sent in some really great research articles on positive psychology. And I gotta say, I was blown away by some of this stuff.
It's really fascinating stuff.
Like, did you know that having a positive outlook can actually have a positive impact on your physical health? We're talking things like maybe lower blood pressure, a stronger immune system.
There's even a potential link to better relationships, both at work and in your personal life.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's step back for a second, really define what we mean by positive mindset.
Right, because it's definitely more than just, slapping on a smile and trying to be happy all the time.
Exactly.
So a positive mindset is really about actively engaging with the world around you.
Oh, okay.
Approaching challenges with the sense of optimism, like really believing you can overcome obstacles.
Okay, so it's like an active choice.
Yes, exactly. And it's about focusing on solutions instead of getting bogged down in all the negativity.
I love that. That already sounds so much more empowering than just, trying to force yourself to be happy.
It really is.
Now, one of the sources we looked at had this incredible table summarizing all of the tangible benefits of a positive mindset. And honestly, I was blown away by how much it can impact just so many different areas of our lives.
Yeah, it's really quite remarkable.
So let's break it down a bit. The first one on the list is improved mental health.
Okay.
Now, obviously, being positive can help reduce stress, but I'm wondering, can you explain how that connection works on a deeper level?
Yeah.
Like, does it actually change the way our brains work?
It does. One of the main ways a positive mindset impacts mental health is by literally changing how your brain responds to stress. So
Mhm.
instead of getting caught up in these negative thought spirals, you learn to reframe challenges.
Okay.
You learn to focus on finding solutions. It's not about ignoring problems, it's about approaching them from a more constructive angle.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about feeling less stressed. It's about developing different mental habits that make you more resilient overall.
Exactly. And that leads to reduced anxiety, lower risk of depression, and just an overall greater sense of well-being.
Wow.
And there's even research suggesting that a positive mindset can actually lead to better work-life balance and, higher job satisfaction, which I know is something that a lot of people are striving for.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so the next benefit on the list is increased productivity.
Hmm.
And, you're all about setting goals and getting things done. So I'm guessing this one really resonates with you.
Absolutely. This one's huge, and it all comes back to that self-belief we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
When you genuinely believe in your abilities, you're going to approach tasks with more energy and focus.
Makes sense.
You're also more likely to take initiative and to persevere even when things get tough.
So it's not just about feeling good, but that feeling actually translates into taking action and getting real results.
Yeah. Precisely. And there's actually some really interesting research on this. One study looked at salespeople and found that the ones with a more optimistic outlook actually sold significantly more than their pessimistic counterparts.
Wow.
They were just more persistent, more confident in their approach, and ultimately more successful.
It's like that belief in yourself becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
You really can.
That's so cool. Okay, the next benefit on our list is stronger relationships.
Okay.
Now, I can definitely see how a positive attitude would make you more, pleasant to be around.
Right.
But I'm curious, how does that actually translate into deeper, more meaningful connections with people?
Well, one of the key findings is that a positive mindset actually fosters better communication. You're more likely to approach conversations with empathy and understanding, even when there's disagreement or conflict.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and this really allows you to build stronger, more authentic connections with friends, family, colleagues, you name it.
So instead of getting defensive or shutting down when there's conflict, a positive mindset helps you stay open and engaged.
Exactly. You're much more likely to listen actively, to seek compromise, and ultimately to maintain those important relationships, even in challenging situations.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the benefit that really surprised me. Better physical health. I mean, how can simply thinking positive thoughts have an impact on our physical well-being? It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is pretty remarkable. The research shows a really strong connection between a positive mindset and tangible health benefits. We're talking things like lower blood pressure, reduced risk of heart disease, and there's even some evidence suggesting a stronger immune response.
Wait, hold on a second. That sounds almost too good to be true. Like, how can just thinking positively have such a big impact on our bodies? There's got to be more to it than that, right?
It all comes down to the mind-body connection.
Mm.
When you're constantly stressed or negative, your body releases hormones like cortisol, which over time can really wreak havoc on your health. But a positive mindset helps to reduce those stress levels, which leads to lower cortisol levels and kind of a cascade of positive physical effects.
So it's not just about, good vibes and rainbows. There's an actual physiological process happening that's directly impacting our physical health.
Exactly. And while more research is definitely needed, the evidence we have so far suggests that a positive mindset plays a really significant role in our overall well-being, both mentally and physically.
I am like seriously rethinking my whole approach to life right now. Okay, the last benefit on this list is increased resilience. And, we all know life throws curveballs. So I'm really interested to hear how a positive mindset can help us navigate those challenges more effectively.
It's all about perspective. When you have a positive mindset, instead of seeing setbacks as defeats, you learn to view them as opportunities for growth.
Hmm.
You start asking yourself things like, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become stronger and more capable?
Oh, I like that.
And this way of thinking helps you bounce back from adversity with more confidence and determination.
So it's not about avoiding challenges altogether.
Yeah.
It's about facing them head on and really believing that we can learn and grow from them.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective can make a world of difference in how you handle the ups and downs of life. But I bet you're now wondering, okay, but how do I actually cultivate this magical positive mindset?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Well, luckily the research offers some really practical strategies, and we'll dive into those right after the break.
Perfect. Because knowing the benefits is one thing, but actually putting it into practice is where the real magic happens.
I completely agree.
All right, everyone, we'll be right back after a quick break. So don't go anywhere. Okay, so we've talked about all the amazing benefits of having a positive mindset, but now I'm really curious about the how. Like, how do we actually make this happen in our own lives?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah. A few of the sources you sent mentioned some book recommendations. I was hoping we could chat about those a bit. Did any of them really stand out to you?
Definitely. One that I always recommend is The Power of Positive Thinking.
Oh, yeah, a classic.
It's a classic for a reason. It really emphasizes the power of affirmations and visualizations, like using positive statements and mental imagery to basically reprogram your subconscious mind.
Okay, I've heard about affirmations,
Yeah.
but I'll be honest, I've always been a bit skeptical. Do they really work? And how do you even use them?
They can be incredibly powerful if you use them consistently. It's really about replacing those automatic negative thoughts with positive, empowering statements.
Yeah.
So, for example, instead of thinking, "Ugh, I'm going to mess this up," you consciously shift to, I am capable and I will succeed.
Oh,
And the more you repeat these affirmations, the more you start to believe them. And that belief can really lead to some amazing changes.
so it's like rewiring your brain to focus on the positive instead of getting stuck in those negative thought patterns.
Exactly.
Like that. Now, what about visualizations? I know a lot of athletes use them, but can they really help everyday people like you and me achieve our goals?
Absolutely. Visualizations work by creating a mental picture of yourself succeeding in a specific situation. And this can really help to boost your confidence and motivation, making you more likely to actually achieve that outcome.
So it's like a mental rehearsal for success.
Exactly. Like you're already practicing winning in your mind.
That's so cool. I'm definitely going to have to give that a try. Okay, so what's the next book on the list?
Another one that I found really inspiring is Relentless Optimism.
Oh, the title is very straightforward.
It is, and it's all about, maintaining a positive outlook even when you're facing really tough challenges. The book shares all these incredible stories of people who overcame some unbelievable obstacles just through sheer willpower and this refusal to give up on their dreams.
Oh, that sounds incredibly powerful.
Mhm.
Do any of those stories particularly stand out in your memory?
One that comes to mind is this entrepreneur who faced like multiple bankruptcies before finally achieving massive success. And what really struck me was his unwavering belief in himself and his vision, even when everyone else was telling him to give up. He just refused to let setbacks define him, and ultimately that relentless optimism is what led him to achieve his goals.
Looks like setbacks are inevitable, but our mindset determines how we deal with them.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, what about the last book recommendation?
The final book is Mindset, which delves into the idea of a growth mindset.
Yes. I've heard so much about growth mindset, but to be honest, I'm still not entirely sure what it means. Can you break it down for me?
Of course. It's really about believing in your ability to learn and grow. So instead of seeing your abilities as fixed, You embrace this idea that you can constantly improve through effort and dedication.
Okay.
It's about seeing challenges as opportunities to develop new skills and to expand your knowledge.
So it's like instead of saying, I'm not good at math, you'd say, I can learn and get better at math
Yeah.
with practice.
Exactly. It's about shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset.
Yeah.
Embracing the journey of continuous learning and improvement. And honestly, that's essential for success in any area of life.
I love that. It takes the pressure off of having to be perfect right now, and instead it puts the focus on learning and growing, which is so much more fun.
Way more fun.
So those book recommendations are definitely going on my to-read list. But let's talk about some techniques we can start using right away. I'm all about action.
Me too. And luckily, the research has tons of practical strategies for cultivating a more positive mindset. One that's really popular is the power of positive affirmations.
Oh yeah, we touched on those earlier. But can you give us some more concrete examples of how to actually use affirmations in everyday life?
Sure. The first step is to identify areas where you tend to struggle with negative self-talk. The things you constantly criticize yourself about.
Okay, yeah.
And then you create specific affirmations that directly challenge those negative thoughts. So, for example, if you often feel anxious before giving presentations,
There.
you might try repeating affirmations like, I am a confident and engaging speaker, or I am well prepared and ready to share my message.
Oh, so it's about tailoring the affirmations to your specific needs and challenges.
Exactly. You want them to feel personal and meaningful to you.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about gratitude journaling? I've heard it can be really powerful for boosting happiness, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
It's such a simple practice, but it can be incredibly effective. All you do is take a few minutes each day to write down things you're grateful for.
Okay.
And it could be big things like your health, your loved ones, your home. Or it could be smaller things like a delicious meal, a beautiful sunset, a kind gesture from a stranger.
It's like taking a moment to appreciate the good stuff.
Exactly. And the reason it's so powerful is because it shifts your focus.
Yeah.
By intentionally acknowledging all the good things in your life, you actually train your brain to notice and appreciate them more.
Hmm.
And this helps to counteract that natural negativity bias that we all have, which, makes us focus on the negative things more easily.
So it's like a mental workout for gratitude.
I love that. It really is.
Okay, so what about mindfulness? It's a word I hear all the time, but I'm not always sure what it actually means.
Mindfulness is essentially about being present in the moment without judgment.
Well,
It's about letting go of worries about the past or the future and just focusing on what's happening right now.
easier said than done sometimes.
It definitely takes practice, but there are tons of different ways to practice mindfulness, from formal meditation to mindful breathing exercises to just simply paying more attention to your senses throughout the day.
Hmm. And how does mindfulness tie into developing a more positive mindset?
Well, by learning to observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, you create a little bit of space between yourself and those thoughts.
Okay.
And this space allows you to choose how you want to respond rather than just reacting automatically to every thought and emotion that pops up. And this can be incredibly helpful for managing stress and cultivating a more positive outlook.
So it's not about suppressing negative thoughts. It's about becoming more aware of them and then choosing how we want to engage with them.
Exactly.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the last technique we should talk about?
The final one, and it's a big one, is surrounding yourself with positivity. And this might seem really obvious, but it's amazing how much our environment can actually impact our mindset.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we go about creating a more positive environment for ourselves?
It's really about making conscious choices about what you allow into your life. Start by limiting your exposure to negative news and social media. Those things can be real energy vampires.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And instead, seek out content that's uplifting and inspiring, whether it's stories, podcasts, music, whatever brings you joy.
So it's like curating our own mental diet, choosing to feed our minds with positive and empowering content.
Exactly. And don't forget about the people you surround yourself with. Spend time with those who lift you up and support your goals, and try to minimize contact with people who bring you down or drain your energy.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed how being around negative people can bring my own mood down. It's like
Yeah.
negativity is contagious.
It really can be. And lastly, pay attention to your physical environment. Create a space that inspires you, whether that means decluttering your home, adding some plants, or surrounding yourself with things that just make you happy.
So that's like a holistic approach, creating a positive environment in all areas of our lives, our mental space, our social circle, and our physical surroundings.
Exactly. It's all connected.
This is all great stuff. But I'm curious, are there any real-world examples that show how a positive mindset can actually lead to tangible results, something we can all relate to.
Oh, absolutely. There are countless examples, but one that comes to mind is the story of.
Wow. We're back. And I gotta say, I'm feeling super inspired after diving into all these amazing benefits and practical strategies for developing a more positive mindset.
Yeah, it's been a really great conversation, and I hope everyone listening is feeling kind of fired up and ready to put some of this stuff into practice in their own lives.
Yeah, for sure. So before we wrap things up, let's just take a minute to kind of recap everything we've learned. What are the main takeaways you want our listeners to walk away with?
The biggest one for me is that a positive mindset isn't just, something you're born with. It's not like a personality trait that's set in stone.
Okay.
It's actually a skill you can build and strengthen over time with practice.
So even if you're someone who tends to be more negative or you struggle with self-doubt, you can still train your brain to think more positively.
Absolutely. It's like working a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
That's such a good analogy.
Way.
Okay, what's the next big takeaway?
I think it's really important to remember that the benefits of a positive mindset go way beyond just, feeling happier. We're talking about real, tangible improvements in your mental and physical health, increased productivity, stronger relationships, and greater resilience when you face challenges.
So it's not just about putting on a happy face. It's about actually creating positive change in all areas of your life.
Exactly. It's about taking action and seeing real results.
I love that. All right, so what's the final takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I'd say the most important thing is that there are so many practical things you can start doing today to cultivate a more positive outlook. We talked about gratitude journaling, positive affirmations, surrounding yourself with positivity. These are all tools you can start using right now.
It's all about finding what works for you and committing to making those small, consistent changes that can really add up over time.
And it's totally normal to have negative thoughts and feelings sometimes. We all do. It's not about pretending to be happy all the time.
Right.
It's about learning to recognize those negative thoughts, challenge them, and then consciously choose to focus on the positive instead.
It's about taking control of your thoughts and choosing to see the world through a more optimistic lens, even when things are tough.
Exactly. And one more thing I wanted to add is that having a positive mindset doesn't mean ignoring or denying the hard stuff in life.
That's a good point.
It's actually the opposite. It's about facing those challenges head on, but with courage, resilience, and a belief that you can overcome them.
Yeah, it's about finding that inner strength to keep going, even when things get really difficult.
Exactly. And I think that's an incredibly empowering message for all of us.
I agree.
Hmm.
So do you have a final thought-provoking question we can leave our listeners with? Something that will kind of spark further exploration and encourage them to keep thinking about this stuff?
That's a good one. Well, we've talked a lot about the amazing benefits of a positive mindset, right?
Yeah.
But what about the other side of the coin? If thinking positively can have such a profound impact on our lives, both mentally and physically, what are the potential downsides of negativity that we might not even be aware of?
Ooh, that is a great question. And I think it's something we all need to consider. The research is fascinating, but ultimately it's about each of us becoming more aware of how our thoughts and beliefs shape our reality.
It's a journey of self-discovery for sure.
So to all our amazing listeners out there, we encourage you to take what you've learned today and just start experimenting. Choose one technique that really resonated with you. Commit to practicing it for a week and see what happens. You might be surprised by how much even small shifts in your mindset can really transform your life.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, but the key is to keep learning, keep growing, and keep cultivating that positive mindset.
Perfectly said. And until next time, stay curious, stay positive, and keep those amazing questions coming.